Welcome back to Start of Play, episode 49, with myself, Theo, and Kojo, the dynamic duo. What are you saying, Kojo? You good?
Yeah, man. I'm good, man. You know me, I've been traveling everywhere, man. So I'm good. So I have to be back in the UK, man. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, I'm good, actually. It's just this kind of time of year is either busy, just busy. But it's good to be recording. I feel like I don't think I haven't been on here for a while. But I haven't been. You and Basil done the last one. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's exactly. You gotta cast our minds back for that one. But no, it was a good episode. But if you're new here, and you're watching as part of the live stream on YouTube, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like this video. You leave your thoughts in the comments as well. Even after the live stream, make sure you do the same and subscribe to the channel. If you're on the audio version, thank you again as well. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So again, hit the notification bell. If you're on the audio version, you can listen to our podcast on your daily commute to work or wherever you're going. But let's jump straight into it, because obviously Ruben Amorim was the hype of the weekend. There was a lot of talk about Ruben Amorim. First game in charge against Ipswich, Manchester United now, new manager. We knew there was going to be a tactical difference from what Erik ten Hag had done to what Ruben Amorim was going to set up with his team on Sunday. But what was your thoughts or first impressions on his tactics and his approach to what we'd seen from Erik ten Hag?
No, I was calm with it. I kind of knew what to expect. Obviously, being a big fan of his on a previous podcast a couple of months ago, we spoke about him, didn't we? And what if he was a United manager or a Leicester manager or wherever. But I'm satisfied because I can see the ideas are there. The difference between him and Ten Hag, and the one thing I was never able to say on the Ten Hag, is I can see there's an identity there already. And it needs the players to hopefully one day, I know Buzz is going to come and change, but Buzz will let Liverpool first. They tried to stop that.
Everybody said the same thing about Ten Hag when you first took him. No, see, this everybody thing, we're going to kill this here right now. I want to VR Sports, and I said out loud, maybe wrongly, but I said out loud that I would have preferred Pochettino at that time to Ten Hag. So I'm not going to be putting that crowd with the Ten Hag association. That's not my group. I'm out of it. But I've always known that his idea, I've always known his philosophy. I'm a big fan of this for a while now. So what I was seeing wasn't surprising. And with the players that will hopefully walk back into the team when they're fit, so your Mainus, Garte, along those lines, you'll start to see the identity flourish a bit more. The one thing I've always said is, with a manager like him, you'll always need a bit of time, because he's very much aware of what's needed at the club. And this is actually a very important time now, because he's addressed that from day one. He hasn't come in and said, I've got this accolade, I come do this, I come do this. He's kind of said from day one, I've had 2 days to work with the players. We can see the lineup might not be different, but the positions and where they pick up the ball and all that will be slightly different. You can see that with Bruno Fernandes within the first 2 minutes for the goal, immediately shifting a lot more to that right side and doing Nico Ahmad. He's not been doing that for United previously. So these are the small things he's talking about. It's now about building the team that he has right now to mold it into what it can do, what can be done between now and the end of the season. And then hopefully from this summer, the next summer after that, and hopefully even from after that, you can build a squad that actually fits his identity. It's going to be a process. One thing United fans won't like to hear is the team that he took over at Sporting is even better than the team that is here right now. And that's the honest truth. I'm going to be blunt about that. So that's the reason why he was able to do so much more within the 1 year. And he was blessed with having youngsters that have come through and done crazy things since, Mateus Nunez has gone and done wonderful things. Nuno Mendes was a wonder kid. So he actually fell in at a great time at Sporting. So on top of his good coaching, he fell in at a good time where the club was bringing in new stars. Obviously, they've gone to do other things. At United, you're nowhere near that. So that's going to take a bit of time. But even with the game with Ipswich, I didn't necessarily expect to win, because the players are still the players.
again, it's going to take time. But yeah, man, I wasn't mad at him. In terms of his individual managerial performance, I'm satisfied. With the rest of it, it will come over time.
Well, what are you saying, Basil? Anyone that's listening to the audio version, Basil's joined us. But what was your thoughts initially on Ruben Amorim's first game, Ipswich? Was you surprised that they didn't get the 3 points based on the hype that was around him? Not just from United fans, but I think from the media in themselves. Like they gave this hype that he was going to go out and wash away Ipswich, and it's going to take a long process for this United team to be where they need to be.
The media are ridiculous. I mean, honestly, they hyped it so much like it was this big thing. And I've always said I didn't expect them to actually win the game because it's still the same players there. And obviously you're asking a manager, as Kojo said, didn't have much time with the players. So how much, a lot of those players were out for international duties. So you can only sporadically work with some while the rest are doing international duties. And then obviously not even as much time when they do return, because some of the players are probably have to do recovery before they come to train. And then there's not enough time for you to get your ideas across to them. So when people are talking about, oh yeah, we're going to see a different United, I'm like, how? He wouldn't have had much time. And even if he took 2 weeks to work with them, it's still not enough time for you to kind of change things and get people to adapt quickly to what you want. Considering the time he's come into the club. Like I said, most managers come in maybe at pre-season in the summer, where they have time to kind of work with the players and find out who's best suited for the formation and the style you want to play, and find out like who you want to work with. He doesn't have the idea as to who he even wants to work with because he hasn't had enough time with them. So I wasn't surprised that United didn't get the victory because, as I said, it's still the same players and they're still operating the same way that they have operated just because they haven't gone through that transition phase. The media were acting like it was going to be this new United breakaway. This new summation,
the same squad, man. Different label on the tin. Like it's the same squad.
I'll tell you what, the media's had a stinker in the Steve weeks. Because when before he was even announced the manager, when they were losing 2-0 to Braga, this being Sporting, they slapped up on their screen at Sky Sports and said, oh, hold on, this guy's losing. To report the end result that they won 4-2 and turned it around. And even him, which I think is so important, every club has to do it, of course. And especially when you're a big club, there's going to be a lot of, and we spoke about it in the group chat, in particular, I just want to bring up here as well, is the amount of media that Man United big managers do is outstanding. For a man to say that genuinely he's done so much media in a week than he's done at 3 years at his previous club is outstanding. Genuinely outstanding. Well done, Man United. You're breaking records.
I'm just stand up to that. It's a man, I should about to say that. I'll just bully you. I'll say I'm not doing some of these things because it's this level of entitlement that this media have. And if he doesn't entertain them, then they will quickly turn on him, which I don't think media and the journalists should have that much power. I guess my anyway, it's like when I forgot his name, the Sky Sports reporter was questioning while he was at Sporting and say, can I have words in English? So yeah. But that's the level of entitlement that people have, which is why I think managers need to take control. That's why I like Fergie. He said, if you were out of line, you were banned from coming to my...
It needs more than that.
But
it needs more than that.
So
you can't get in.
If you're anointed, we'll come in that press conference and it'll be very spiky with something.
Yeah.
About taking control, not allowing these guys to dictate how much of your time they want from you or what they want you to do. So, but I do like Cameron in terms of how he's handled himself because he's come in, he's made himself aware of the situation. I even like the fact that he also said, that to me in 2 years. None of this like in hardware saying process, trust the it's watch the plan, the plan's going to come. He said, listen, in 2 years, you can have a full assessment as to whether you want to judge me whether I'm doing a good job or not doing a good job. And I like that, he's level-headed in that because some people want a lot of time. People like Arteta, we've seen it when he was failing those first few years at Arsenal, was always trust the process, is coming. And these people don't want the criticism that comes when you're not doing well within a period of time.
Want the praise, though.
Yeah, at least he's that kind of guy. Listen, it's a process. Within 2 years, I'm not doing well. Come back and tell man, if I'm doing well, we can do well. The biggest issue I have at United, which is quite worrying, personally, is still the structure upstairs. And the reason why I said that is because they changed things upstairs, and then in the summer, all you have to do is look at the signings that United made. Now, whether they give Ten Hag the power or not to kind of dictate those signings is worrying, because ultimately, if they gave him the power and said, this is who I want, someone upstairs should have had enough knowledge to say, some of these signings are not going to work out. And if they were the ones that decided these are the players we wanted, it's very worrying, because the signings you have made in the summer just haven't worked out. I don't rate De Ligt very highly, never have personally, to be honest. That signing personally is not working out. Xerxes, I do not know what to know. Xerxes brought into that. But
Even Højlund though as well. I still think Rasmus Højlund
is not working out too. But I think there's at least Højlund came before they kind of made the changes.
Yeah, I know, but it's still.
But Ugarte once again, like I said, I can give him time. I personally haven't rated Ugarte personally. That's just me, but I don't think we can have the opinion. It's not really working out there. I don't know if they made any other signings. Mazraoui, I think Mazraoui is not a bad signing. I think he's doing well, and I think he's a good committed. So I actually do like Mazraoui. But then it's a bit worrying upstairs as to how they've kind of operated in terms of first giving Ten Hag a new contract, which I thought was just ridiculous. And then the signings so Amorim's there, but there's still, for me personally, bigger issues upstairs that needs to be discussed and resolved at some point.
I'd have to agree with that a lot. I feel like a lot of the signings over the next 2 summer windows is where you can determine who has got that control, who's got that power, what kind of input is Amorim having, because I think he's going to have a massive say. I think they'll give him the trust. I think United are going to have to trust him to an extent.
Well, I would say to that is one thing that they have made point blank about, which again, Ten Hag should have gone after the FA Cup final, but we're here now, innit? The one thing they've made clear is the reason why they were so happy to bring him as a first choice and approach him straight away is because within discussions, all the ideas align. So not only is it about style, it's about players they want to identify as well. So in terms of the question of the Xerxes and all that stuff, I think that was also trying to work with Ten Hag and basically say, look, this is your one last shot. We're going to give you what you're looking for. Obviously, that hasn't worked out with Xerxes. Mazraoui's worked out so far. He's playing well. De Ligt's been better than he was when he first started. He's starting to get better, more comfortable. Not particularly Maguire 2.0, as some people said, but
that goes back to Basil's point though a little bit, that you give it this is your last last chance saloon for Ten Hag, yeah. But you knew the owners deep down and the board knew deep down they were going to sack him at some point in the season. So why give him that opportunity to do that?
There was sort of like a discussion within the board. It's all come out. He's been sacked, but basically, long story short, there was a sort of like a 60-40 in
it was a split.
Ten Hag staying rather than going. So they were the majority. The person that has the overriding power didn't want to override the people making the footballing decisions. That person being Jim Ratcliffe. He said, okay, if I hired you for this, I want to trust you with this decision because that's what I've hired you for, right? I've got a team to do A, B, C, D. Obviously, it didn't work out the way they wanted it to. And then Jason Wilcox was the one that had a meeting with Ratcliffe and said, listen, it's time. It's time now. Sorry. It's got at least that. Override it. So it's a bit too late. At the same time, we've only played 12 Premier League games. United are not far off European positions. I'm not saying
if you win your next game, you go like 7th or something like that.
So this also not great, but for me, it can be assessed, but it's nothing for me to panic about just yet. These guys have come in. For me, I'm looking at them just like I'll give Ten Hag, I'll give Amorim. It's the first 3 years I'm looking at. What steps have you taken to correct the wrongs? If you continue to make wrong decisions, then we've got to be very critical and say, guys, they're just doing the wrong thing. But until then, it's early days. I think I understood the cautiousness of the decision making, but now they've made one big decision and brought in a new manager. That's the first step. Let him work, support him. If it doesn't work out, we question you again as to why it hasn't worked out. But yeah, here we are.
I think, as you said, the league is tight because I think she's 8 points from like West Ham, like Arsenal and who are both on the same point. So it's definitely going to be a merry-go-round for the next few games, just because it's quite tight all the way from like third to like the what position is. It's like 40 or 50. Yeah, you can see it's tight. So that's it. You guys are still in it. I guess the biggest issue United have is, I think it's fine if people decided they want to support Ten Hag and you had 60-40 split. The biggest issue, which for me was because they was offering the new contract. For me, was useless. So, if you want to keep him, just leave him in place. I think this would have been his last year, if I'm correct, Kojo, if they didn't offer him the extension.
So but it wasn't so much an extension. It was more so just a correction of the powers that he had, and I think also the
Didn't they extend it an additional year?
no, it wasn't extended. It was terms were changed, and then basically, if you do well, the option of a further year is in there. But it was kind of also kind of smart business, because he took away some power, but also when he was sacked, the fees that we heard of were not true. He didn't get £17 million. He could probably go way up under that. So it was all like a renegotiation of what you've given him. And then if you do start to terminate that contract, there is a sort of like a set release clause that you just put in there, say, look, this is your money, get out. So
Off the hook from that one, then. It's not right.
you're still right. You're still right to ask the question, because at the end of the day, if you're still right. You're right to answer the question, because we're all in agreement that this guy should have been gone after the final. He should not have stayed. But yeah, the business side of it was a bit better, but no, he still should have gone.
Do you know what fear and Kojo? After they came, right, I thought to myself, I was speaking to someone, and the discussion was, who's like bankers in that United team in terms of like, who have like the position nailed on the first week. And Kojo and Fear, I could literally only name you probably 2 or 3 players. Literally, I've 5 thoughts.
It's a
fire third. I'll tell you why I don't even have that much, because I know why people have that much, but I think certain players you think should be replaced, because I don't think they're good enough. So you probably have Bruno. I don't think Bruno should be a banker because he doesn't perform in the games that matter. Okay, King.
But I think he will. I think he will from an Amorim perspective. I don't think he should be there, but I think from an Amorim perspective, he's going to keep him there.
The coach, the only player, I had Kobe Manu there. I had Garte there just in terms of he's only just arrived. I'm not because of, but only just because he's just arrived. So I'm like giving time to see.
Got to assess him.
Got to assess him. So I can't be unfair to him and say no. So I've got Garte, I've got Manu there. I've had Mascherano there as a good squad player, but I think he's a good squad player.
Agreed.
And I don't have anyone else. I don't even have Martinez there just because he's injury prone. So I'm like, I can't rely on him throughout the whole season. I don't even have anyone else who, for me, should be a bank. I think everyone else should be replaced, including, and I'll say this, Kojo, including Onana. But I'll say, I don't think Onana is a priority to replace. I think he can keep him there for 2 years, but I personally don't trust him because I think he has mistakes in him where over the season I don't see him as reliable. I think he started the season well, but I think I don't see him as a top goalkeeper for you. If you got rid of De Gea, I don't see him as an upgrade from De Gea. I think you can keep him for now. I think as Arsenal did, if you want to improve and go to that next level, sometimes you just say, go and get better.
Yeah, 100%.
I think everybody should be replaced. 3 or 5 actually used to, and that's when Joe goes.
In ways, I don't like the word process, but it's the only way I can think of right now.
No, it is. It's a transition.
It's a transition. It's a process that you're going to have to go through. Look, in terms of the current squad right now, the only players that I feel like are certainties. If everyone's fit and you're thinking like, okay, who would, I guess, quote unquote, deserve to stay? Would you be, and this is also kind of less priority type and get out kind of players, would be Onana use, would be De Ligt, he's new, would be Ugarte, new. And the thing about Ugarte in particular is when he was at Sporting, he was bought by PSG because the way he was under Amorim at Sporting is not how to utilize him at PSG. So I'm hoping to God that we don't get the PSG Ugarte. But Ainu, Ahmad,
Mad. As a squad player. Yeah, keep him.
And to be fair, I'm going to give Martinez only because look, the first season was good, the second season not so good. And then again, you're very right, the injury issue. But you're hoping in the back three you can do better. I will say this though. I will say this. Today I had a discussion with United fans, and I actually did say if United do go for another centre back, which I think they will.
Yep.
In that back three, he doesn't make the back three for me if they're going to buy someone to be a starter. It's going to be Euro, Elite, and whoever else the third person is. I don't think Martinez is the person that's taken that. Yeah. So I also do agree that he's someone that can be replaceable in the future, but he's less of a priority in terms of getting out right now. He's not one of the worst performing players.
I didn't include Euro just because I know very little of him. I haven't watched much of him. I'll say that. I don't have any opinion on him. But I would say this. I've seen some clips of him personally, and obviously I can't judge it by the clip, but the clips don't look good in terms of just awareness and defending. But apparently he's a top talent. So I mean, it's system though.
Oh, system.
You know, just me because obviously, like I said, clips you could always make someone look good or bad.
And yeah, of course, you can do a compilation of bad clips of any player as well.
But I don't have an opinion on him whatsoever. Personally, I've not watched it. Not like people seen him and he's great. I personally don't have an opinion.
Do you know what the issue is here? And I think Theo can attest to this as well, because Chelsea are in good form right now, but they have one key issue, and we all know who it is, right? The issue is what, and it's not, I'm going to ask the question. It's not like, oh my God, you can't find a goalkeeper, but it's more like okay, if we just say Onana is replaceable, which I do somewhat agree with.
Yeah.
In the market, who we're looking at as a reliable option? Think about someone like Euro as well, which again, this generation of football is going to kill me. I know he's developed as a defender, but he's been told about being on the ball first rather than being aware as a defender off the run. And this is where we hope that the coaching can, help.
Well, I think it will eventually.
Yeah. Hurry up. 100%. Exactly. But, at the same time,
Before we move on,
and everyone's like, who knows? Oh, sorry. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Before we move on from this, I do want to say Ipswich played well in that game on Sunday. They played really, really well. And I think a lot of what's happened over the last 24 hours, and everyone talk about Amorim still, is kind of like overshadowed how well Ipswich actually played in that game. McKenna set them up really well against a team that they potentially could have easily lost to in that game. And they actually didn't just sit back and defend. They actually went for the game. And I thought Ipswich done well there. But I want to move on because we've got a couple of things we want to talk about as well. So let's move on to Mo Salah, because another big talking point. I don't know if you lot got to see Carragher, man. That guy's pissing me off a lot lately, man. Every time I see his face, I hear it. I mean, I know I live in Liverpool, so I hear the accent all the time. But when I hear that man talk here, I just want to slap someone, because there's something about him. He just talks nonsense all the time. But with Salah's contract, obviously there was a clip that came out. I think he was speaking to a reporter from NBC or somewhere in America. About his contract situation, that there clearly isn't really much development going on with Liverpool and all the rest of it. He's more out than he is in, I think was one of the quotes that was said about him. But Basil, I'll come to you first. What is your thoughts on Liverpool potentially losing? We spoke about it on here before, but obviously we're going to have to continue speaking about it as it develops throughout the season. And we're getting to that point now where he can actually go and talk to other clubs in a couple of weeks. What's your thoughts on Liverpool potentially not even nailing this down, allowing it to get to this stage, and then the likes of Carragher coming out and saying, I'm disappointed in Salah for saying he wants kind of this to be resolved, but he's not really looking at the real issue, which for me is the owners upstairs.
Yeah, 100%. The fact that they've allowed it to go this far, and it reminds me a lot of Arsenal back in the day, where we allowed players to go, and you have Van Persie coming out saying they did not a contract, and people will say, yes, he was offered a contract, but especially your key players who are the fabric of everything that's going on at the club, you have these negotiations early. The fact that we're rumbling on to January where he's able to speak to clubs abroad is quite worrying. And the fact that, like I said, he says he hasn't even been offered a contract. Yes, discussions may have happened, but the fact he's been offered anything as to here's our terms, here's what we're going to offer, is quite worrying. And the fact that it's not just Salah, it's him, Trent, and Van Dijk. how bad the club is being run. Because I know Arsenal, we've had our problems, but never have I known at Arsenal for us to have 3 key players at back. So last time we did was Ozil and Sanchez. And in the end, we managed to get Ozil to sign. And obviously, Sanchez was the one that left. But to have 3 of your best players at this stage is criminal. This discussion should have happened midway last season, when at least most clubs do it 2 years before. But I can understand because of the age of Van Dijk and maybe Salah, you kind of want to wait and assess things a bit. But minimum a year and a half is when you start discussion to prepare yourself for the summer, where you can actually make a decision as to, okay, here's what we're going to offer you, or maybe you're too much of a risk and you need to go. The fact this is still rumbling on is quite worrying. And people like Carragher are problematic, very, very problematic. And I hate the inconsistencies that come from the likes of him and Neville, where it's one argument for certain situations and a different argument for another. Man, let's be consistent. Players are, why is it that always players have to toe the line? I don't understand this. And especially the most worrying thing is that you're an ex-player. And that's why I think there's a level of envy there that comes from Maresca Carragher. Why is it players have to toe the line? Same with Carragher with his comments about Rashford and Casemiro going on holiday. It's different times. Who cares if they want to play? Issue, if anyone wants to speak about his contract situation, he's free to speak about his contract. And the fact that he wasn't even disrespectful about it, because the way going on is that I want to stay. I want to stay. The fans want me to stay. I haven't been offered anything, which is that if he wants to speak that truth, he's free to speak the truth. He has not been disrespectful to the club. And the way Carragher is going on, like he's committed a crime by just speaking out. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And boy, I mean, I'll be interested to hear what he has to say when the summer comes and it's concluded and we see whether all 3 go or some of the 3 actually stay. I'll be interested to see what his tune is then and whether he's still going to lambast these players or Salah for speaking up early. Because Van Dijk has also spoken up. Either earlier season or last season, he didn't say anything when Van Dijk said anything. So only one comes. Yeah, I generally think Trent's leaving. That's what I personally think. But yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, Liverpool for me, they're showing themselves to be a very badly run club, to be honest, because we don't have these issues at City. And obviously, as much as City, they have the issues with amount of charges they have, they're a very well-run club as to how they bring in players, how they negotiate players, how they get rid of players, how they negotiate contracts. And I think they're the blueprint for other clubs to kind of learn from. And I look at Liverpool, who want to be challenging and call themselves a very, very big global club. And they don't operate as one at times in terms of their ambitions in the market, in terms of sometimes their wage structure, and also how they negotiate in the contracts with their 3 best players.
Yeah. This is all good points. I agree with everything you said. And I feel sometimes that's why people, laughed at the Chelsea, the death row contracts. And to be fair, in essence, they're probably the way to go. Because when you look at it, I would never want to see someone like, there's not many places to pick from, but if we had a Mo Salah or, I don't know, Cole Palmer, he goes on, develops and progresses as well as we hope he can. I would never want to see him get down to the final year of his contract and he's in the media talking about, well, they haven't offered me a contract. That's it. Why you need to nail your best players down. Not all your players, which Chelsea have done, but your best players down to these long-term contracts, because at least then it gives you the option to negotiate a further deal or to go and look at potential targets that you want to replace for Salah. Now they have a choice to make, Liverpool. They have a bite the bullet and offer him the money that he clearly wants and the negotiations or whatever, or they go and start looking at other targets quickly because they've got a choice to make there, and that's coming around really quickly. But, Coach, I want to ask you what potential targets are out there for them to go and get, because there's not many that can replace a Mo Salah.
Golden question, my bro. Golden question.
Anyone, actually. There's no one that can replace Mo Salah. Let's be honest.
Let me tell you what I like about the situation here is they're going to find out difficult. They're going to find out just how difficult it is to replace a top talent, especially someone that's had such an impact in the Premier League. Because when Arsenal lost Henry, you don't easily replace Thierry Henry. When Man United lost Cristiano,
they haven't replaced Thierry Henry. Would you say you've replaced them?
We had Van Persie for a while, but the issue with Van Persie was he was injured.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm just saying we couldn't replace him.
Some players are irreplaceable.
See, was fit. Henri is Henri. You know what I mean? So he does do wonderful things. Henri's Henri. Ronaldo was with Rooney and Berbatov for a year. Rooney and Berbatov are brilliant. But, Cristiano Ronaldo, what he did for us. He's a Ballon d'Or winner. Salah has taken you from 30 years, no title, to literally being the guy that scores the majority of your goals. That's even after Mane and Firmino have gone. He's
still there doing it on his own, really, essentially.
Thank you very much. And you're about to lose him on a free. Like, this is baffling. You can't lose him, Trent, and Van Dijk on a free in the same summer. Also, it looks like they're trying to replace Alisson. I understand he's got a lot of injury issues, so fair enough, the next stage. But you really signed a goalkeeper in the future. You really got Kelleher making noise saying, I want to be a first team starting goalkeeper for sure. They've got so many issues that they've given themselves. And the question you asked about the targets, honestly, I don't know who, because they have sold 2 of the front 3 that was great for them. And they've signed how many forwards? How many got?
Nunez, Jota, 4. What's the name? Well, Diaz, Nunez, Diaz as well.
Diaz. They even signed Minamino for Ben. He had to go. How many people you guys for? If Fabio Carvalho didn't work out long term,
apparently he's not having a good loan spell as well. He's not having a good loan spell, is he? So
he's not enjoying himself. His father's now calling on Instagram saying, "My son, leave my club.
Get out of there. Get out of their club."
Yeah, right. This is the difficulty it is. You know what I mean? So you need to find a medium. And if you are not gonna give him the new contract, you better start looking now.
I'll add this to what Coach is saying. Some players, as you said, and you started off with a good point on, some players are just irreplaceable. Because how do you replace Salah's impact in games? One, in terms of his movement, in terms of like how he attracts defenders and players. Yeah. 2, he's got no one comes close to him in terms of consistency of his goals. 3, assists, the amount of times he creates chances for Liverpool. No one comes close to that. They're also inconsistent from, as you said, from Diaz to Gakpo. I mean, Diaz started off very well and now he's faded, and Gakpo is the one starting games now. Yeah. And yeah, like I said, you just have to wait up and say some players are just irreplaceable. Same as you look at the disaster that Konate had this weekend. Did not play well whatsoever. And also, I think it was the same also in the last game before the international break. Didn't play well. So then it's like, you lose Van Dijk. Once again, irreplaceable. Who can you actually replace him with? Trent, they can kind of survive without, because when he was injured and Bradley came in and he did well. So he lacks someone who has his level of creativity, but you can kind of manage without Trent. But those 2, Van Dijk and Salah, are just irreplaceable. And as a club, you have to weigh it up and say, I know they're on big wages and say, okay, maybe we cut costs by getting rid of them. But as you, the question mentioned earlier, Theo, who can you replace like for like? Sure, it's just same effectiveness with those players. As Coach said, you can't.
It's a worry for them. It is. It has to be a worry for them. And I look at Salah. I just think he could go on and play for another 4, 5, 6, 7 years. The way he keeps his body in shape, he keeps himself. Can clearly see that he's not one of these that is going to,
Give one example here. And this is why PSG was so bang on trying to nail down Mbappe. Because obviously, what PSG shot themselves in the foot is that they had all these superstars and players who can in games that are win and take them far into Champions League finals at these competition. When they went the other way and got rid of all the players, and obviously now you see like when now Mbappe is gone, they are a very, very ordinary team.
Yeah, because they were watching the other week.
Yes. And that's why, as you said, the issue feel upset by Mbappe because they can't replace him.
Yes.
Goals, the danger he creates, his superstardom, the way he can win you games at a whim. And that's why they were fighting to keep him. Honestly, at the end, when he's on, you see, there's some players, you can buy all these players that you want. You just can't replace certain players. Do I certainly understand, which is why they gave him so much money to stay. Because they're like, mate, you're one of a kind. We need you here. You just got to stay. You got to stay. So sometimes just bite the bullet and understand who are your irreplaceable players and say, maybe we kind of need to be flexible as to how we negotiate there.
I just don't, I feel with Liverpool, and they've done this for years, so this is not a new thing for them, but they need to get with the times. Like, you can't offer like little man wages to your big player. It's not going to work. And if the idea is even mentioned to Salah about going to the Saudi Pro League, I don't think he turns that down again. that was on the plate for him last year. I don't think he can let that down. I don't think he can walk away from it again, because the money they're going to offer him, Liverpool are not going to match that. They're not going to match what if they say to him, you're going to be the face of the Saudi Pro League, and we're going to give you 800k a week, 750k a week, whatever. Liverpool cannot match that. They can't even entertain that, and they wouldn't entertain it because their wage structure isn't built like that. Like you just said, Basil, they don't. They're not tight with the money, but they kind of are to an extent. Do you know what I mean? Like they won't break the bank balance for Mo Salah, and that's what Carragher was trying to get to yesterday. That they should be focusing on the Champions League and the Premier League. Great, but if you lose the man that is getting you to those Champions Leagues and Premier League titles, you ain't got nothing to show for it anyway. So what's the point?
Arsenal did it with Ozil, wrongly so, because I didn't think anything was deemed was worth. Arsenal wrongly did it for Ozil. As you can see, in their minds, they thought, oh, this guy is too important for us to let go. And they were willing to act structure to give him money done. And that's it. As big club, you have to understand the value of what you have. Look out there and say, oh, you know what? Some players are just, you can't replace them. This isn't like the 90s and the 2000s where there was so much talent out there. You could afford players go and say, you know what, we can find another gem because they're just a factory of like top funny players. It was just that times are different. You're having to really scrape to find those special players.
Yeah, 100%.
So sometimes you just have to fight up and say, we can't replace you.
It's true, man.
Kojo, what do you think this kind of message sends out to the fans of Liverpool? If they let him go, let's just talk about Salah. Let's not talk about Trent or Van Dijk, but if they let him go on a free, I put out on Twitter the other day that this would be the maddest transfer ever. Well, not even a transfer. There's no transferring of nothing. The maddest contract of ending, termination in Premier League history if they let this happen.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. If I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be absolutely in Canada words, know what to use or what adjective to use. I don't think there's a word I can use that would describe fury enough within the Liverpool fan base, because this isn't a player that's begging to leave. This isn't a player that said, you know, I got one more year in me, then I need to go and play somewhere else. The guy is making it known because he wants to stay. This actually could be one of the most easiest negotiation deals ever. But they're sitting on it and they're not doing anything about it. He just said, give me some fresh terms. And I don't think Salah's even someone that would ask for 150k more. He just wants to know there's a plan with the manager. He understands that players like him, Van Dijk, they're in their 30s now. He's 32, in particular, Salah. So, you know, you should be looking to keep it, or you should be looking to replace him at some point. Whereas it wouldn't make sense for Trent because Trent is in his early 20s. But, you know, so be it. But yeah, I think Liverpool fans, you might genuinely see a riot because Liverpool fans have had a good deal of success, but they're still so angry at what's about the manager. They've never been satisfied with FSG.
Yeah.
They've never, and before that, they had Hicks and Gillette. So if you're going to give them another time of hell, believe me, they're going to riot more than ever. But on a personal level, I think for it.
I was waiting for that bit at the end. Let's move on because I want to quickly, very, very quickly. I don't really like talking about City because it's a City, but I want to talk about Pep Guardiola. 5 games, all comps, no win.
Good see. Come on.
The Booker T is Booker T, and this is something unprecedented times at Man City. He's hot under the collar. I think when he's been hot under the turtleneck that he likes to wear on Saturday. But it just feels like something is transitionally changing. Aging squad at City now. I still don't think they've recruited very well. I keep saying it, letting Julian Alvarez go, and you've only got Erling Haaland as your main go-to as a striker for me still was just mind-blowing. Don't really like Doku. I don't like Jack Grealish. I still think Phil Foden robbed the Premier League with that player of the season that he got last season, but that's just me. I'll go to Basil first, both of you, but I want you to both answer this. What is happening at City, and can they still consider themselves in the title race? I suppose they can to an extent because of where they are in the league, but the gap's opening up a bit now.
Yeah, no, they definitely can. And like I said, this is why I hate the talk of Guardiola is the greatest manager in football. He's the greatest manager in the Premier League, which some people say. Because I've always said there's caveats to how he operates. And I've always said for Pep Guardiola to operate, he needs 9 players who are 9 out of 10s and 10 out of 10. Cannot operate with players who are 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10, which is why I put a lot of managers above him. I put, like I said, the likes of Ancelotti above him. I put the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson above him because they have a happy medium where they can work with superstars, but also work with average players. Yeah. The biggest issue I had with Pep is that he can't work with average players. And that's always been my mark in terms of he's at Barcelona, had the superstars, went to Bayern, had the superstars, can buy who he wants, gone to City, had the superstars, can buy who he wants, but can never really work with not medium to good to average players, which these other managers have shown that they can and win things with these players. So I've always said, so what you've seen is that players have left, players are aging, and he doesn't know how to operate with players who can't operate at the optimum 9 and 10 out of 10. And you're starting to see him struggle with. And obviously, like I said, I don't understand why there's a pity around Pep. They spent so much money. They still have a large squad of players based upon the players they brought in. So for me, I have zero sympathy. And I said there's zero excuse for what's going on at City because it's not as if they have players available. Maybe it may not be his first choice, but I'm sorry, this is the squad he built. These are the players he brought to the club. So once they, all of a sudden, now he has to use these other players that he brought into the team. What about? What are we on about? Like, people, Savio's not performing. Like, I've always said, that club, or anyone working with Pep is a place where creativity goes to die. Because Sadio is a completely different player from what he was at Girona. Grealish is a completely different player from what he was at Villa. Doku's a completely different player when he's playing at City. There is night and day the Doku you get at Belgium, the Doku you get at City. At Belgium, he's dribbling, running at players. At City,
you're not allowed to do that. You got to pass the ball back.
Then into Rory on TalkSport one day, and you were saying like the biggest issue you have is that because people were talking about City letting Palmer go, and you said, well, if City had kept Palmer, he would be like what what's his name, Phil Foden is. Yeah. Waiting to have activity to do the things he's doing. And he was saying, I agree. You said basically, if Phil Foden was at another club, he would be doing exactly what Palmer's doing.
Yeah, of course. Like the chains are off, then the shackles are off.
But it's so restrictive at that team. But like I said, I'm not surprised because, like I said, Pep has never had to build a squad. He's always come in, squad is ready made for him. He's never been one where it's like, okay, and this will be interesting to see how City starts transition with a new crop of players. De Bruyne's on his last legs. The injuries keep to him.
Gundogan's 34, I think.
Yeah, Gundogan's Spurs. That signing has not worked out whatsoever.
At all.
Like I said, but even if Rodri was there, Rodri will not change their fortunes because it is a one-player issue, it's a team issue that's going on at City. And like I said, the defenders just don't seem to want to defend. Kyle Walker's finished.
Yeah.
RDR, like I said, I've always had my reservation about him defensively because I don't think he's quick and I don't think he concentrates a lot. And then the centre-back pairing just doesn't seem to be working. But what can I say? I'm not surprised. And it'll be interesting to see how Pep kind of overcomes this. I think they will overcome it and at some point kick into gear. But like I said, it'll be interesting to see how over the next 2 years now we signed, how he starts to transition with a completely different squad. And now that his main guys are kind of like at the end of their careers.
It's something he's never had to do before. Well, not to this extent anyway, but
it's last year. If he does leave City, I'll be interested to see what club he goes to next because he's done all the big clubs he can do.
I think Spain. I think he'll want the national team job.
Maybe. Because the reason I say that is because he's gone to all the clubs where they can, like, they had all the superstar players, they had all the money. There's nowhere else.
You have to go to Saudi, get the Saudi Pro League and
more. And I think that'll be telling as to what the real Pep is when he does it. And doesn't have all the money in the world to spend and doesn't have all the world-class players for him to come up through his thing.
It's true. It's true. What are you saying, Coach? You agreeing?
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with any of that. I think the warning signs for City were there when they only beat Southampton 1-0. Yeah. They gave miss a couple of chances in that game, but Southampton were starting to find the gaps in there. And Ange Postecoglou hit on the nail on the head this weekend in the post-match interview. He said, teams come here that can play and they just sort of just shrivel up.
You got to attack them. You got to attack them.
You just have to play. And he said, my players play today. You just have to play. And that's it. And if you look at the results that they've had in the games, the teams they've played against, Brighton, when they go against teams, what do? They play. Bournemouth, what do they do with Iraola? They play their ball. Sporting, well, when Amorim was there, what do? They play their ball. See, and Tottenham, twice. Sometimes they don't, but when they want to, they can ball. And that they've paid for it. And he made the excuse this weekend actually off of ball. So I'm gonna read the lineup here because this guy was here talking about when you're missing defenders, you're missing midfielders and all that, you know. And one thing we've always praised City for is their depth, right? Ederson, Walker, Jones, Akanji, Vardiol, Silva, Gundogan, Rico Lewis, Phil Foden, Haaland. Sorry. Player of the year last season, Phil Foden, Haaland, and Savio, you just bought this year. Off the bench, he brought Ake, Jack Grealish, repaid for, and Kevin De Bruyne. They still have Esmini on the bench as well. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that sounds to me like you've got quite a bit of depth to use in that team. So stop using that excuse. I understand you
Not just depth, a bit of quality with depth.
Quality that teams would be like, oh, he would walk in because when Tottenham come to your team and they say they haven't got both Romero and Van de Ven, and they're playing Ben Davies again. So Davies at centre back. If it was Andrew before that game and you say stick out of I can't do Vardiol, Stones and Ake playing your centre back with Jackson, stop playing Ben Davies as centre back. No, let's not come and tell what this excuse. You built a squad. And what guys who said at the beginning is right because okay, I will say that he's been able to build a squad. However, I'll put it to you like this. His first season, he came in, bought a whole backline and it failed. So you have to get rid of all of them for little to nothing. I spend another bucket load.
And the goalkeepers. And the right.
Goalkeepers as well. And and what you said as well about sort of like the style of play and all that because he doesn't let players, you know, express themselves a lot more. Well, that's what you see in a lot of footballers now. And that's why I'm happy Cole Palmer is able to express himself at Chelsea. Because Cole Palmer shouldn't be a player that's not expressive. He's so expressive. He's so good. This is where football has gone. This is I'm just gonna stop here because I'm gonna go to a horror about. This is what you're seeing now. The key is if you go against City, don't be afraid to play a ball. You can't be afraid. You have to go toe to toe. That's why Liverpool picked Liverpool out at some point, and that's why Chelsea have done it. That's why when Mourinho went and rattled him at Real Madrid to the point where he said, "This is my last season. I need a sabbatical. I need to take a break." You need to take a break. It's more rattled, mate. Play your ball.
I ain't got nothing else to add. I agree with both of you. I think it's before we wrap up, there's two questions that I want to ask. Because I keep getting asked this. I think someone put it in the group chat as well. I was like, don't behave. Chelsea, quick fire ass. That's all please. Those. Oh no, I'm not having that, man. Don't do that to me. Don't it's not happening.
You probably will for sure.
Yes.
Thank you. Come on, let's feel now.
We will for sure. But I think one position wise, yes. And two, even Enzo seems to have got you guys playing from an attacking sense. The reason why I say full is because your defense will definitely let you.
And the goalkeeper.
And your goalkeeper too. But the issue is that he's managed to get the players buying into his style of play, attacking wise and they seem to be kind of understanding it and reflecting that. So I think Chelsea win games because they just have much attacking power. The defense ultimately let them down, but they're still in a title race, I think, personally.
It's one bad. Anyway, man, so you got a good goalkeeper as well. Please, just embrace it for now.
Hell, man, listen, you gotta remember the dark times I've been in for the last 3 years. Remember the dark times where I've been on my travels, please. Just let me have this little moment, get my violin out, let me just enjoy it, please. I'll be honest, I think I agree with both what you just said, but I feel we are playing better attacking wise. If we've got Sanchez in goal for the remainder of the season, we ain't winning nothing. And that's just, to me, that's what it comes down to. That man is not a goalkeeper. I don't know what he is, but you can't. I did the review on the Chelsea Cap channel, and I was watching the clips back. There's a moment where he's got the ball. I think it's Caicedo's coming towards him. There's two players on top of Caicedo. You've got Badiashile, and I think you've got either Levi Colwell on the other side. I can't remember who it is. Now, rather than either clear the ball, clear your lines, get rid of the ball, or use Badiashile, who's probably the best option, he actually uses Caicedo, the one that's under pressure, and nearly gives away a goal. This guy can't be in goal for us anymore. He can't. And been screaming about Petrovic. I actually looked at Petrovic's stats while he's on loan. He's not the arse either. So I don't know what we're going to do. He's not the answer. Go and check how many goals that man has conceded so far this season. I'm not saying it's all down to him. I'm watching the games, but the proof is in the pudding. You're at fault for something if the goals are hitting the back of the net. Jurgensen, I think he needs an opportunity, but we have to secure a goalkeeper in the summer, because this is why I can't say we're in a title race, because I know at some point we've got a lovely period of games coming up now, but come after, I think, January, games are coming thick and fast. We've got some tough games coming up then. That's when I can, if we're still there or thereabouts, then come March, April, then yeah, I might say quietly that we're in a title race. But nah, we can't be. We're kind of ahead of our projects, but we're also not where we need to be at the same time as well. It's weird. It's a weird place to be. But I'm giving an ask as well. Arsenal, Alexander Isak, coming to you, Basil. You got to get that deal done, man. Although I was watching him last night, and I was actually questioning myself. I was questioning myself last night, thinking, is he actually that good? Because I was thinking, what are you doing? You should have a hat-trick by now. But what's your thoughts on Alexander Isak? I feel like he's the one that would fit Arsenal, I do.
There's not many strikers. I don't even think there is any striker like him, because he is of the old school two type striker where you can score goals. Yes, he missed maybe a few, but he's got very good link-up play. He can good feet. And the issue is with many strikers, they don't have the combination of that. We have a striker who's maybe like the moment fast, maybe score goals, maybe can link up, but you don't get.
So aerial, he's good aerial. He's aerially good as well.
It's quick too. So he has a combination of attributes that if you look around in world football, I don't know any striker that has. Yes, he's a good finisher. Maybe needs to be a bit more consistent in terms of the chances he takes. But like I said, that could come over time. And sometimes it's easier when you join a bigger club.
Yeah.
Because you can go up the next level because you're playing with better players.
Yeah.
And because you're dating possession more, it allows you to be a bit more freer. Whereas at Newcastle, sometimes you get the one chance and you don't know when the next one. Sometimes they're not making the right decision.
But I thought chances
today. It's like, oh, brave.
Yeah.
How much? Yeah, dude.
That's why I said about Willock last night. I said, you've got the ball and Isak's made the run.
And you don't play. And also, I was like, he would be frustrated because he had like 3 or 4 good runs. I was like, if he plays at a better team, that ball goes to him straight away.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, he's the only profile striker I would want at Arsenal. Yeah. But the things I don't think that deal gets done at Arsenal because Arsenal are cheapskates if they can't set up. See them? South of club, if the play's right for them, they're not going to want it. They're not going to want to bring that bed. But then this dude's gone now. Dude's gone, man. It's not the fabric of that. And that's the reason why I like clubs like City, United, and Chelsea. They're the only clubs where if they know, oh, this player is a must, pay the money, bring him in. Because it will pay dividends in the long run, rather than you not doing it and you're bringing someone of lesser quality. And then you struggle. We can not suffer when going Jesus and we brought in Havertz. We bought Marino because you don't want to pay the money for the right, correct profile player. Because they're like, there's a bit expensive. So, we'll look for someone who we think is good, but it's cheaper. And that player actually is great. So, but I don't think we'll get that deal done. I think we've gone in the summer because I can't see how he stays at Newcastle with the way Newcastle are in the position.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see where he goes. To be honest, I don't think we'll be Arsenal personally because I don't think we're going to spend the money Newcastle want for him personally. Mr. Chelsea, who knows?
If you don't want to pay the big bucks for him, I think the person you should look for is Matthias Cunha.
Yeah.
Sure. And I've always liked Cunha because I think he's a fantastic player. His finishing is so erratic. And from the moment he stepped on Wolves, I've always said that his finishing was what's let him down. But overall, his overall game is him. It's similar property. Perfect. So that's what he took love. Could hold up play, could link up play. Fantastic movement. If his finishing was just more consistent, I'd happily look at him.
That goes back to your point before we wrap up very quickly. If he's amongst better players, I reckon he'd be able to deal with that. I reckon he's not snatching at chances. I think he doesn't know when his next chance is coming at Wolves. And I think he's kind of a bit erratic with that. If he's at Arsenal, like you said, he's going to have a bit more time. You know what I mean? Arsenal can dictate the game a bit more better. I think he gets a bit more opportunity and he'll be composed a bit more to take them shots on there. He's probably missing at Wolves now. So
I never thought about him as an option, but looking at what you said, it wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal did, because I think, say, he can half the price.
That's a Black Friday sales.
So exactly
50% off. Limited time only.
right. It is.
trust me, it's crazy. It's crazy. But no, it's been good. It's been a good episode again. Lots to talk about. I'm sure there's lots we're going to be talking about over the next couple of weeks or so. There's no international football now until March. I know. Someone say prayer somewhere because March we got some good football coming up as well. So I'm looking the Messi.
The Kaka. Okay, sorry, my bad. The Kaka. Sorry, the Kaka.
But yeah, no, it's been good. Basil, Kojo, thank you very much as always. Episode 49 done. We'll be back soon with another episode. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, all of that stuff. And as I said, if you're on the audio version of the podcast, still make sure you head over to the YouTube and do all of that stuff for us as well. So appreciate it. Until next time, we're out. Enjoy the rest of the week.